Nearly 8 months ago, the speed skating world crowned 2 new all-around champions. But after the Inzel ceremonies concluded, the sport, as it always does, went dark. The seasons came and went, the tireless training never ceased, and getting the mind and body ready for the new chase was paramount. Well, the wait for the new season is finally over, and today the curtain rises on the new World Cup season. Well, it was a tune-up of sorts for several countries last week. Japan's Miho Takagi and the United States' Jordan Stolz led the gold medal haul of the 4 continents. But tonight, the rest of the speed skating world merges in Nagano for the World Cup season opening events. So it's the chase of World Cup titles, World Championships, and the prestigious all-around title. They all begin right now from Nagano. Speed skating greetings to everyone watching around the world on Peacock and the ISU YouTube channel. Patrick Keenis with you as the World Cup voyage shoves away from the port once again. And most of the big names are with us in Nagano. All-around champion and world record holder Jordan Stolz and Olympic gold medalist Aaron Jackson from the United States. The Dutch's women all-around champion Joy Byun and legend Kjell Naus. Japan's Miho Takagi, China's Ning Zhongyan, and Gao Tingyu. And we'll keep an eye on a couple of young newcomers from the kingdom. 17-year-old Angel Dalaman and 20-year-old Yenin Debu. They could be the next breakout stars to emerge. We will see each of those skaters racing today. Well, the beauty of speed skating, the ice, while frozen, is always shifting beneath the blades as new unexpected stars will glide to the foreground. And there's a look at Jutta Leerdam, one of the emerging stars over the last few years in our sport. Curious to see where she is as far as jet lag goes. She arrived fairly late in the week here at Nagano. She was in the United States to support her boyfriend fighting Mike Tyson on the Netflix live show last weekend as we get a look at the conditions. We are inside the M-Wave, the Nagano Olympic Memorial Arena, which opened in 1996 to get ready for the 1998 Winter Olympic Games, which saw 5 world records and 12 Olympic records set back in 1998. First time that the World Cup has been here in Nagano in this arena in a couple of years. Seating capacity around 6,500 and a little bit more intimate gathering for the first World Cup stop here today. First of 6 in the World Cup circuit. Again, we have already seen the 4 continents, second time within the same calendar year. 4 continents was last week, but we begin in Nagano here today. Beijing, the second World Cup stop next week, and then a good couple of months gap before they head to North America for the Calgary and Milwaukee stops of the World Cup season. And then over to Europe, Poland, and the Netherlands will wrap it up. In between, you have the European Championships in early January, the World Single Distance Championships coming up in Norway in the middle of March, and the pursuit all begins today. So the way the schedule looks for day 1, we'll have the first of 2 runnings of the 500 meters. We'll then have the 1,500 as well for the men and the women. Day 2, the 3,000 on the women's side, the 5,000 on the men's, and the 1,000 meters for both the men and women. And then Sunday, pretty full program. The team pursuit will kick it off. We'll get the second run into the 500 meters. The mass starts, and then the mixed gender relay will close things out here in Nagano. So we will open up with the women's A division of the 500 meters. We'll see 10 pairs. 20 skaters will be on the ice. And as we open up the racing here in Nagano, Japan, we will see one of Japan's finest in 29-year-old Kako Yamane and Martina Baran of Poland. We'll open things up. Yamane in the inner and Baran in the outer.
Ready.
And we get a false start on Baran, the red flag, with the red armband on the right arm of Baran.
Go to the start.
So the World Cup season is underway. We saw Yamane last week, the four continents. 10th place finish in the 500. We'll see how the openers look on this ice here in Nagano. High 10.8 for each. Now the crossover on the back straights, and they will bring it home. Personal best for Yamane, 37.75. And Baran closing well on the inside, has a small lead into the line, and it will be Baran in 38.88. That's off of her personal best by about 7/10. 38.99 for Yamane.
38.88.
So some of the headliners we'll see a couple of them fairly early in this draw. Kim Min-sun, who is the second-ranked 500-meter women's skater last year over the World Cup classification. She'll be in pair number 4. We'll see Suzanne Schulting. That is a very familiar name, not to long track fans, but certainly to short track fans. The Olympic champion Schulting is rehabbing off of an ankle injury several months ago, but she'll be on the long track making her debut, and she is in the A division. We'll see her in pair 6. Vanessa Herzog, who was top of the charts in the 500 a few years ago. She'll be in pair 7. Brittany Bowe of the United States in 8. Erin Jackson, the Olympic 500-meter champ, will be in pair 9. And then Jutta Leerdam and Kimmy Getz will be the final pairing here of the 500. There's Kaya Zyomek Nogal and Lee Nan-hyun, the 18-year-old from Korea.
Go to the start.
Had a best finish last year in Salt Lake City. Lee did of 5th in the 500.
Ready.
So away we go in the 500. Lee begins in the outer, and the opening time is 10:51 for Zyomek, and Lee at 10:67. A couple of top-ranked 500-meter skaters from last year, the World Cup, are not here this weekend, at least competing here in the 500. And now down the home straight. That is Zyomek Nogal. Final full lap of 27:52, 38:03.
38.03. Finishing time for Nato Lee of Korea, 38.59.
38:59 for Lee. Zyomek Nogal raised to the Pyeongchang Winter Olympic Games representing Poland. Puts up the leading time, at least through the first couple of pairs. There's a look at Eric Jackson of the United States. Again, Jackson will be in the penultimate pair, the Olympic champion of the 500. Saw Jackson last week win the 500 meter at the Four Continents. So in pair 3, Ryo Yamada on the inner from Japan. Best finish last year was in Quebec, finishing 4th. And Angelika Wojcik of Poland will open up in the outer. She had a 3rd place finish. But she's back in an A division event for the first time in a couple of years.
Ready.
She was one of the top sprinters at the 500-meter race a couple of years ago. So we'll see Wojcik back. We'll see how she opens up at the foreground of your screen. She opens in 10:48. Fastest time of the first 6 skaters here in the A division. So Yamada on the crossover will finish in the outer. Wojcik driving on the inner, coming around this final curve. And Wojcik in very good shape. Coming down the home straight. Let's see what her time will be 38.03 is the top so far. She clocks in at 37.92. Billy Wojcik, a little more than a tenth of a second. Your leader thus far through the opening three. Again, the track record here is by Nishang Hua. Actually, it was now Kodaira back in a few years ago of Japan. The world record is 36.36. Track record 37.13. And there are several track records that they feel are ripe to be taken down this weekend here in Nagano. It's a great look. Fierce look on the face right there of Wojcik coming around that final corner. So she clocks in at 37.92. Full lap time at 27.4. Now we will get to the number 2 ranked 500-meter skater from last year, the World Cup. That's Kim In-sun, the world silver medalist at the single distance, the 500. But she had 3 wins in the World Cup season, 3 seconds, couple of thirds. And Tian Runin will start in the inner, and there's a look at Kim In-sun.
Ready.
Just the luck or the misfortune of the draw here at the early stages to have one of the top 500-meter skaters going out so early in the pairings. Again, 4th out of 10, and she clocks in at 10:49. She's on 10.45. Now let's watch Kim In-sun and how she closes. And if she gets an adequate draft up at Tian, looks like she will, she'll come into the final corner. And this is going to be a tight one out of the final corner. And there is Kim beginning to make a move, starting to pull away a little bit. And we'll check the time for Kim. And through the line at 37.93. That's not even best of the first 4 pairs. 37.93 for Kim In-sun.
38.18, and Min-sun Kim of Korea, 37.93.
So Wojcik at 37.92, still on top. 6 pairs to go. Kim In-sun, her PB coming in, 36.96, so almost a full second off of that. Can't imagine she'll be thrilled with that time and performance. Now with the great portfolio of skaters to follow. Again, early in the season, trying to get your body in shape, your mind right. And there is your leader thus far through the first 4 pairs. So now to pair number 5. We'll see 2 from Japan, Yukito Yoshida, Karumi Inagawa. So Inagawa last week, the 4 continents, finished second to Aaron Jackson, the 500.
Yukino Yoshida,
and Yoshida
of Japan.
Yoshida, the 21-year-old Inagawa,
Kurumi Inagawa,
25 years of age. 6th in the World Cup rankings, the 500 last year.
To the start.
Finished just outside the top 5 4 times. She finished 6th.
Ready.
So Inagawa in the right armband on the left side of your screen. She got against her teammate Yoshida. We'll check the openers here. Yoshida is going to crack at 10:46. That's the fastest thus far. How can she carry the speed through the corner? Inagawa, a little work to do behind Yoshida. Again, first World Cup. Who knows what type of surprises we'll see. Especially when it comes as far as infighting with teammates. Yoshida in the white armband is going to claim this pair. Will she be on top? Yes, she will. 37.74 for Yoshida. And that's going to knock Wojcik down to position number 2 halfway home. Inagawa clocks in 38.01. That's 4th. Again, most of the heavy hitters are on the way. And that is a personal best for Yoshida. She came in at 37.92 as a PB and takes that down by almost 0.2 of a second. Great race by Yoshida. And her best finish last year was Obihiro in the opening World Cup event, finished fourth just off the podium.
Introducing the skaters.
But didn't really sniff another top 3 performance the rest of the year. This is a terrific beginning for Yukino Yoshida. So we'll get on to the 6th pair, and that will bring up the 3-time Olympian and 11-time world short track champion Suzanne Schulting, making her long track debut. And she's testing out long track, recovering from an ankle fracture back in March. So we will see her in the 500 meters. We'll see her in the 1,000. Still evidently has designs on getting back onto the short track at some point, but here's Suzanne Schulting, a 27-year-old on the long track. And she'll be accompanied by her teammate, Naomi Verkerk.
Go to the start.
Really curious to see how Schulting in the white armband, physically, how is she? And then on the long track, how does she look?
Ready.
And the starter, Deng Zhufeng, calls him off the line, false start. And we'll go lodged against Verkerk.
First out lane, not stable. Go to the start.
As if Schulting needed any more drama on her first fire off the line in the 400-meter oval.
Ready.
Clean start. Let's check out Schulting's opening here. She's known for blazing speed and great tactical ability on the short track. 10.74 for Schulting. Navigating this far corner. Now the crossover. Schulting not able to get a whole lot of draft. So here we come. Schulting again in the white armband. The foreground of your screen on the left. The lead belongs to Verkerk. And Verkerk will win the pair with Schulting, 38.29. However, Schulting clocks in at 38.51. So Schulting right now sitting 9th after the first 12 skaters. Yoshida still on top, 37.74, a personal best. It's just a learning experience again. Schulting testing the ankle, and again, a lot of nuance, a lot of change for Schulting, training to get on the long track. And there's the stretch by Verkerk. So Verkerk, 38.29, good for 7th place. Schulting sitting 9th, but an ultra competitor.
The skaters competing in the race 7.
So 4 more pairs remain, and we'll get to some big names who have great histories a few years ago and current form. And one who was dominant at this 500 level a few years ago, and now Kodaira. It was a weekly battle in the World Cup between Vanessa Herzog and now Kodaira. Kodaira has now retired. Herzog trying to come back after certainly a disappointing last year. Finished 15th in the rankings, but she's a former world champion of this 500 meter back in 2019. Carolina Hiller will skate opposite of her in the red armband for Canada. Saw Hiller last week, the 4 continents, finishing 7th in the 500. So we'll check the form of Herzog. And she's coming out of that down start, 3-point stance.
Ready.
And that is a new approach for Herzog from the last time I saw her on the long track. So lumbering through the opening 100 meters, and Hiller goes out. She does generally go out quickly, 10.57. That's not her quickest. And now Herzog will lead the crossover here. Herzog goes out at 10.89. So Seen her far faster than that over the years. Now they back out of the final corner. Hiller and Herzog. Hiller edging ahead. Herzog trying to hunt her down in the final few meters, and it will still be Hiller. 38.52, 38.53 for Herzog, so she outpips Herzog by 1/100th. And again, that is not a time we normally associate with Vanessa Herzog. 38.52 for Hiller. That's about 3/4 of a second off of her personal best. But Yoshida remains on top with 3 pairs to go. Herzog 11th, Hiller 10th. So 3 pairs left. We'll see 3 Americans, 1 in each of the remaining 3 pairs. Brittany Bowe will be in the next pair. Then the Olympic reigning champion in the 500, Erin Jackson. Kimmy Getz will match up against Leerdam in the final pair of this women's 500. We'll see a second run into the 500 meters coming up on day 3 here in Nagano as we got a look at Dion Voskamp of the Netherlands, the 27-year-old. Had a best finish last year at the 500 of 6th in Poland. And Brittany Bowe, who only raced in 5 of the 10 500-meter events last year as Voskamp is introduced. And there is Brittany Bowe, the 2-time Olympic bronze medalist. Won the 1,000-meter last week at the 4 continents, finished 6th in the 500. This is not her best distance. Bowe known more for the 1,000 at 15.
Ready.
Generally also takes Bowe a little bit of time to kind of wind up and see how the opening 100 meters looks for Brittany Bowe on the left side of your screen. And Voskamp will get there in 10.5. Brittany Bowe just a hair below 10.7. $37.74 is the time to beat for Yukino Yoshida. Yoshida out of pair number 5, still on top. 2 more pairs remain. Voskamp edging Brittany Bowe. The final couple of meters, Voskamp will get there, but still not fast enough to take down Yoshida from the top of the podium. A 6th place 38.07 for Dion Voskamp. Brittany Bowe clocks in 38.26. And Yoshida, the 21-year-old from Japan, off of a personal best, is still on top with only 2 pairs to go. And again, we're getting a sense, hard to read, through the first events of the opening day on, how fast or slow or choppy the ice is here in Nagano, but the times do appear, at least through the opening event so far. I guess we'll check now with the speedsters of Erin Jackson and Kimmy Getz and Jutta Leerdam. This will be a pretty good litmus test as to how this ice is playing so far. So Voskamp taking a look at the clock. And Yukino Yoshida still comfortably on top, 37.74. So there is Erin Jackson, the defending Olympic champion in the 500 meters, the top-ranked 500 meters skater last year, won 4 golds at World Cups and 2 runners-up. And Michelle de Jong.
Go to the start.
There's a look at Michelle de Jong. Only raced in 2 500-meter events last year at the World Cup level.
Ready.
Well, the fastest time going out was Tian of China, 10.45. Let's check Erin Jackson here on the first 100. Jackson goes out in 10.61. That's 8th fastest. Yoshida's time to beat at the top is 37.74. Jackson has her work cut out for her. So there's Erin Jackson in the blue skin suit. 37.74 to get to the top of the podium with 1 more pair to go. And Let's see how Jackson brings it home. Driving toward the finish line, 37.74 to beat. She's not going to get there either. 38.17, that's seventh for Jackson. And Yoshida, I don't think can believe it. She's going to be on the podium. And Erin Jackson was 43 hundredths off. De Jong clocks in better than a second off of Yoshida's time. And that's one of the big surprises. Is it the ice? Certainly slowing down a lot of the top skaters on the women's side of the 500, but Yoshida was able to figure it out to a personal best. And the 21-year-old is going to be on the podium for Japan. How about that?
Introducing the 10th and the final pair of women's 500
And there's one more pair left, and
skaters.
tell you what, Yukina Yoshida, she has a real chance to win gold. Who would have seen that coming before this event began? There's one pair left. Everybody's been fairly slow. And there's Wojcik right now in silver position. Kim right now is third. Those are the only three skaters to go sub 38. So now it is Kimmy Getz for the United States, the number 4 ranked skater in the 500 last year at the World Cup, and the world bronze at the world single distance. And Jutta Leerdam, the overall bronze at the World Sprint Championships. Can they knock Yoshida, the surprising leader, off the top of the podium? Final pair. Again, Tian went out in 10:45. Yoshida went out in 10:46. Let's check the time of Getz, who's leading the first 100 meters. 10:59. That is off. That is off by about 13 hundredths. And Yukina Yoshida has a real shot to the gold here. Coming around the final corner, it's Getz, it's Leerdam, and it's Yukina Yoshida, the 21-year-old from Japan, right now on top. And this is a match race to the finish. Leerdam and Getz, 37.74, the time to beat. No, Getz doesn't get there. She's off the podium, and Yukina Yoshida, a stunning gold medal in the opening World Cup events. The 21-year-old out of pair 5 sets a personal best and then watches the rest of the field wilt at her time. Yoshida will win gold. Angelica Wojcik of Poland finishes silver, and Kim Min-sun of Korea bronze. Kimmy Getz finishes 4th, 37.95, just off the podium by 2 100ths. And only 4 of the 20 skaters go sub 38. And that is the sub headline in this opening event here in Nagano. Because you're talking about the fastest female skaters in the game. And Erin Jackson went 38.17. Leerdam went 38.04. Tian went 38.18. And Yukina Yoshida, who finished outside the top 10 in the 500-meter rankings of the World Cup, finished 11th. Her best finish last year was in the opening World Cup event in Obihiro. That was 4th. And that was at the age of 20. 21 now. She set the time out of pair 5, and it holds up. And that's a look we've seen from a lot of skaters here in this first event, looking up the scoreboard saying, is it possibly right? Did I really go that slow? And there is your gold medalist. What a story. This will be on her home ice. Yukina Yoshida. She went out in 10:46. Closed with a 27.2. And there's your silver medalist, Angelica Wojcik. And Kim Min-sun will take bronze. This is a podium nobody would have guessed before this event began. The Americans Getz and Jackson finished 4th and 9th. Leerdam finishes 7th. And how about that for a top 3? Brittany Bowe 11th, Vanessa Herzog 16th. But the story, a stunner. Yoshida of Japan wins gold in the World Cup opener here in Nagano. A personal best 37.74. Well, we said at the outset, the stars are here, the big names, the defending all-around champs, Joe Bion, Jordan Stolz of the United States. But you never know what is going to happen once you get on the ice. And granted, one event, yes, but one surprising finish. And now we'll move on to the men's 500 meter. And I'll tell you what, just looking at those times, watching the racing for the men's skaters on the infield, watching the results, they have to be looking at those times saying, okay, ice may be a little bit slow, or maybe it's just, opening event nerves that impacted a lot of the skaters, but that's an attention getter when they see the times clock in that slow. And they see, especially the leaders struggle, even knowing that they need, a time to beat that generally they would beat, but nobody could take down Yoshida. That's going to be a bit of an attention getter for a lot of the male skaters coming up. So we'll have 10 pairs on the men's side, and again, big names as well toward the bottom. The final few pairs, we'll see Laurent Dubray of Canada had a very nice weekend. Last week, the four counters, Jordan Stolz will be in the 8th pair for the United States. We'll see Yenin Debu, the 20-year-old who we talked a little bit about at the top. There's a look at Stolz of the United States. Target's going to be on his back, no doubt about it, over the course of this year after a monster first couple of seasons here at the senior level. And the record setter and the world record holder. So as we open things up, here is David Bossa, the 32-year-old veteran from Italy. And here is the Olympic champion in the 500 meters in Beijing, Gao Tingyu. Raced 5 events, had 1 World Cup win last year. That was in Poland. And Gao, again, luck or misfortune to the draw in the opening pair.
Ready.
A clear false start by Bossa. You won't see many more egregious false starts in this sport than that one. But it is effectively a pair false start, even though it's charged to Bossa.
Go to the start.
Hopefully that won't unnerve Gao.
Ready.
And a clean start. Gao holds the line. Bossa doesn't jump the gun. And we'll see how quickly Gao goes out. 2-time Olympic medals, won bronze in Pyeongchang in 2018 in the 500. He goes out 9.58. We'll check that time, how that opener holds up against the rest of the field. Tights on the crossover. Gao will finish on the inner. And Gao is going to set the number here in the opening pair, and he looks very comfortable. A little bit of a stumble toward the finish, but he will finish at 35.15. 35.15 for Gao. 35.68 for Bossa. And there's Gao, who is the first Chinese man to win gold in Olympic speed skating when he took down gold in Beijing a couple of years ago. He went out in 9.58 his opening 100 meters. We talked a lot about the openers, but especially based on what we saw on the women's side, they were not fast first 100 meters by any stretch, and even the fastest skaters in this sport could not make up the time on their full lap, and that allowed Yoshida to claim the gold. So now we'll see, and we know Gao is extremely fast in the first 100. We'll see how his 9.58 holds up. As we go to the second pair, there's Piotr Michalski of Poland. And in the outer will be Siver Bratgerd of Norway.
Go to the start.
Bratgerd, 22 years old.
Ready.
Michalski did find the podium once last year, the 500, finished in bronze position at the World Cup stop in Quebec. We'll check the opener. 9.82 Bratgerd, 9.92 Michalski. Almost 3 to 4 tenths of a second behind Gao. So we'll just watch that over the course of these 10 pairs here on the men's side. It's hard to ramp up the speed when your first 100 meters are in that range. Tight finish. Michalski is going to get there first at 35.43.
Finishing time for Piotr Michalski of Poland.
35.43 for Michalski.
Finishing time for Siver
Bratgerd,
Bratgerd,
35.56.
ただいまの結果、ピオトル・ミハルスキー、ポーランド35秒43、シベル・フラトイエルト、ノルウェー35秒56以上です。
I suppose the true test of how fast or slow this ice is going to be, to me, is going to be when we get to pair 8. And that's Jordan Stolz of the United States. So he should really provide a pretty good measurement of how this ice is playing and if it's going to be slow for generally everyone, because on the women's side would tend to lean that could be the case here. As we get a pair of 3, Marek Kania, the 25-year-old from Poland, finished second in Quebec in the 500 behind Stolz last year by about a third of a second. Kim Jong-hoo in the outer, the red armband for Korea.
Ready.
And in Korea, you can see both of those blades were moving forward delicately toward that start line. So the false start will be assessed.
First stop in ring, no skipper. Go to the start. Ready.
Fair start, third pair. Out of Kania, Poland, top of your screen, Kim Jong-hoo of Korea. He goes out 9.52. That's 600s faster than Gao. And they have rechecked Gao's time. 35.13 officially is his lead in the clubhouse after his opening pair time. 35.13 for Gao now. Swinging a little bit wide is Kim, but he's going to win this pair. We'll check the time. 34.63 for Kim.
Finishing time for Marek Kania of Poland is
And Kania gets under the time of Gao as well, 34.80. So Gao is now shuffled down to third. So Kim with the fastest opener, 9.52. Parlays that into the fastest time, 3 pairs in. Look of pleasure on the face of Kim after that time was posted. You see 5 Japanese skaters here out of these 20. Here in the men's first run of the 500. First of those 5 will be in our next pair. We'll see Matsui, we'll see Norishiki, Matsubo, Shinhama coming up opposite Stolz in the 8th pair. So now in pair number 4, Ryota Kojima and Iliapis Izquierdo of Spain. First Spanish skater ever to qualify for the Olympics in speed skating. Did that a couple of years ago. There's a look at Kojima.
On the outer lane,
and there's Izquierdo, who trains in Germany. He's a youth Olympic medalist back in 2020, but
Go to the start.
massive fall, crashed into a tree when he was a teenager, coming around a corner in practice. Had to dodge another skater coming at him. Fractured his jaw in several places.
Ready.
But came back, and he's slow off the line of the 500, Izquierdo. And this just looks like an exercise for him, and going out hard is Kojima. He will have no help in this 500. I don't know if Izquierdo is under the weather. And down goes Kojima. So Kojima lost his balance coming out of that corner, and here's Izquierdo on just a strolling, gliding stride. And he's going to win the pair with probably the slowest 500-meter time we've seen to win a pair in quite some time, because he is just taking it easy this entire lap. Not sure if he's under the weather, if there's any other issues here, but he will come across the line in 44.12, good enough to win his pair only because we saw Kojima crash out. And he is now up and on his way to finish. And in 57.77, credit to Kojima for
finishing time for 50
embracing that crash, getting up and getting back on his blades and finishing the 500.
57.77. Finishing time for Yoshida Izquierdo of Spain is 44.
So here's a look coming out of that corner for Kojima. Yeah, looked like he got a little bit too far out in front of the blades, lost his balance. Ankle and shoulder into the padding. That's about the pace we saw from Izquierdo most of his 500 meter. Even off of the start line when the gun went off, he was in first gear most of that race. But Izquierdo crosses in 44.12. There's a look. Nearly up. So 34.63 the time for Kim Jun-ho. Getting ready for pair number 5 of the 10. There's 2 skaters so far beneath 35.
Skaters competing in race 5.
So Yamato Matsui will be in the inner for Japan.
Starting from
Here's a
the
look
inner
at the
lane
26-year-old.
is Yamato Matsui of Japan.
And opposite of him, starting in the outer, Damian
On the outer
Zurek
lane is
of
Damian
Poland.
Zurek of Poland.
Best finish last year on the podium, bronze
Go to the start.
in his home country in the World Cup stop in Poland last season.
Ready.
And we will get yet another false start. Sure, one of his best finishes ever in his career, world bronze, the world single distance in the 500 last year. And he will get charged with the false start here. It's a little nudge, a little wobble.
Ready.
5組がスタートしました。インナーレーンからは松井大和、日本。アウターレーンからはダミアン・ゼーク、ポーランド。
Matsui in the opening 100 at 9.75. Kim went out in 9.52. So Zurek drafting off of Matsui. 34.63, the time to beat right now for Kim Jun-ho. Zurek making a move. He's going to win the pair. We'll check the time. Not good enough. 35.23. That will put Zurek in 4th position. Matsui 5th.
And finishing time for Damian Zurek of Poland is
So
35.23.
the time from pair 3 of Kim Jong-ho is held up over the subsequent next couple of pairs.
35秒23以上です。
5 more to go. And again, not scintillating times by any stretch yet. Gao Ting-yu right now is sitting 3rd. And he's the Olympic champion of this event. And still another 10 skaters to go. So now an all Japanese pair. They're in pair 6. And the Olympic bronze medalist in Beijing in the 500. Wataru Moreshiki.
Starting from the inner lane is
He'll be on the inner.
Morishige of Japan.
And Katsuhiro Karatsubo will be in the outer. Nice applause there for Moreshiki.
Is Katsuhiro Kuratsubo of Japan.
Katsubo 34.97 personal best.
Go to the
Moreshiki
start.
33.99. This will be another test on how fast the ice is. Moreshiki won 4 World Cup 500 meters last year. Obihiro swept in Beijing. Also with Stavanger. A high quality year last year for Moreshiki, the #1 ranked 500 meter skater. We'll check his opener, 9.52. And Moreshiki 9.85, Karatsubo 9.73. Those are pedestrian openers, especially in comparison to that of Kim. So Moreshiki will finish in the outer in the white armband. He's just trying to win his pair, and we'll check the time. Tight match here. Moreshiki is going to get there, but 34.86, that's 3rd. So knocking Gao out of the 3rd spot. He's shuffled now to 5th, but 34.86 at final lap, 25.01 for Moreshiki. Again, there's another early indicator of a lot of speed that we generally see on the ice. Not quite there. And again, Moreshiki opened in 9.85. Kim Jong-ho went out at 9.52. That's the difference right there. All that speed are able to ramp up. That's personal best, meanwhile, for Karatsubo at 34.88. But still right now in 4th position with 4 more pairs to go. Be curious to see how much that Stolz and Debray and some of the others are following the times. Because it certain it is at least sitting somewhere in the back of the head that, hey, the times are not fast right now. And Stolz is on deck for the United States. First off, we'll see his teammate Zach Stoppelmoor, the native of West Des Moines, Iowa. So Stoppelmoor in the inner, Bjorn Magnussen, part of Norway's team sprint world title at the World Single Distance Championships a couple of years ago. The 26-year-old in the red armband will open in the outer.
Ready.
Stoppelmoor out of that down start. Oh, and he stumbles and falls. Stoppelmoor is down. So it's Magnussen by himself. And Magnussen opens in 9.78. 5th fastest 100 meters to open up. But again, Stoppelmoor, again, looked like he stumbled a bit, fell down before he got to the first 100 meters. Tough break for Stoppelmoor. Now it is Magnussen on the ice. Coming out of this final corner, 34.63 is Kim Jong-ho's time, and Magnussen will cross at 35.18, a good half second behind. So Kim's time still holding up. And the clock's still ticking on Stoppelmoor, who is up, appears physically to be okay, but is easing his way through the 500 meters to at least finish the race, which is what you want to see as far as accumulating World Cup points here at the A division.
Finishing
So
time for Zach
Stoppelmoor,
Stoppelmoor of USA.
58-78, and that's even
The finishing time for Bjorn
That's even
Magnusson of
behind
Norway is
Kojima, who went
55.18.
down a couple of pairs earlier when he crashed into the boards coming out of the corner. Let's see what happened there with Stoppelmoor. Yeah, right there, caught the tip of that left blade. It's a good profile shot. Watch it here on his left legs on the right side of your screen right there.
Will take a couple minutes.
And that was the end. So Magnusson comes in at 35-18, good for 6th so far. 3 pairs to go. Jordan Stolz to the United States is coming up. And again, this will be the true measuring stick on, how is this ice really this slow? At least on day 1 here in Nagano. Stolz will tell us all the story that we should be reading here in Nagano. And this will be a good pair. Tatsuya Shinhama, silver the 4 continents and the 1,000 behind Stolz, bronze in the 500 behind Stolz. Stolz swept all 3. He won the final 3 500-meter races in the World Cup last year after really not racing any of the others. The world single distance sweep for a 2nd straight year. And he has a goal of trying to sweep the 500, the 1,000, the 1,500 during the World Cup season, something he really didn't target last year. Took an event or 2 off here or there. That is not really in the plans for Jordan Stolz this year. Now, first things first, the introduction for Stolz, now just 20 years of age, but with so much experience and so many titles.
Go to the start.
But how will the opening 100 meters look based on what we've seen through the first 15 or 16 pairs of women's and men's here at the 500?
Ready.
This will tell us what we need to know. Stolz on the left side of your screen. Kim went out in 9.52. And Shinhama and Stolz go out in 9.64 and Stolz at 9.71. So Stolz about 2/10 behind. He's going to have to wind it up quickly on this final full lap, as is Shinhama. Kim came home in 25.1. Here's Stolz. He'll finish on the inner. 34.63 is the time to beat for Kim Jong-hoo. Can Stolz track it down? Stolz to the line, and yes, he does get there. Closes in 24.72. A 34.43 for Stolz. Shinhama undercuts Kim as well by 5/100ths. So Stolz certainly not the opening 100 he was hoping to post, but did he ever ramp it up in the final 400 meters? And Shinhama, a fine race right alongside Stolz. 1,500 separate those two. Now that is Stolz and Shinhama really getting after about the final 250 to 300 meters. There's a lot of intense effort right there by Stolz. So it takes down Kim by 2/10. 34.43 for Stolz. So Kim right now is in 3rd position. 2 more pairs to go. So Stolz was able to overcome a bit of a sluggish opening 100, but he fired it home. So now we get a look at Jenning de Bood, 20-year-old from the Netherlands. 4 events last year. His best finish was 5th, but won World Silver at the Sprint Championships last year. Started in short track, moved to long track just last year. And there's Laurent Debray on the podium a couple of times at the 4 continents last year. The number 2 ranked 500-meter skater in the World Cup last year.
Ready.
All right, well, Kim went out in 9.52. Stolz, your leader, went out in 9.71. We'll check the times here of de Bood and Debray. And Debray is going to get there in 9.63. So that is 800s faster than Stolz's time. It is not the fastest opener we've seen. That still belongs to Kim. Now we'll see if Debray can use that opening 100 and bring him home. Stolz's time is 34:43. Here comes Deboo, and it's tight to the finish. And Debray gets there at 34:58. So he's in his second position, actually tied to the hundreds with Shinhama. They will go to the thousandth of a second to determine who's second and who's third. And Deboo at 34:63. So for the moment, they may have to revise the time of Debray and see if it does come in exactly at 34:58. They've yet to take it to the thousands now, at least on my monitor they have, and Debray will be in the second slots. Again, I don't have the breakdown of how many thousandths of a seconds of a difference it was between Debray and Shinhama, but they have placed him seconds despite the matching 34:58s. And Shinhama third, so Stolz has one more pair to avoid. And he is in line for a World Cup Nagano opening win and gold medal here at the 500. Again, they'll run this 500 a second time this weekend, coming up on Sunday. But the last pair will feature a couple of skaters who either A, didn't race many 500s last year, or B, just didn't perform all that well. These are not two of the top skaters, despite being in the final pair. Stefan Westenbroek of the Netherlands, whose best finish last year was 11th. And there's Marion Shefferkamp with a fourth place finish in Beijing. An overall ranking at 500 meters of 19th.
Ready.
So the two Dutchmen will close out the men's 500 meters. Westenbroek, his opener of 9.63. That's pretty solid. That's 800 faster than Stolz. But can he carry it through the full lap here? That's going to be the real test for Westenbroek. Westenbroek will finish in the outer, Shefferkamp in the inner. Navigating the corner. Westenbroek now just trying to hang on to his lead in this pair. We'll check the time, 34:43 Stolz. It's 34:84 for Westenbroek. And Jordan Stolz will claim gold in the World Cup opener here in Nagano in the 500. And he earned it. He had to throttle up in the final 400 meters to take down Kim Jun-hoo and Tatsuya Shinhama. And Debray will finish silver, Shinhama bronze. And on a day of fairly slow times, at least in his first events, in the women's and men's 500, Stolz is not slowed down at all. A 34:43 gold medal race for Jordan Stolz in the United States.
After the prize giving ceremony and as preparation,
So Laurent Debray will finish with the silver, 34.58. Tatsuya Shinhama also 34.58, but outpipped by Debray when they carried out to the thousands. So Shinhama will win the bronze. There have been some compelling storylines already here in Nagano in the opening events. And the big surprise, Yukino Yoshida of Japan. From the fifth pairing, sets a personal best and slays the top 500 meters on the women's side. Brittany Bowe, Aaron Jackson, Kimmy Getz, Vanessa Herzog, Uta Leerdam. All comers. And Yoshida wins her first ever World Cup gold. And Jordan Stolz, certainly not his first ever, but his pursuits of maybe claiming World Cup classification titles. It's never been done in 3 events in the same year. It's been done many times in 2 events. Stolz, health willing, skating willing, is endeavoring to win all 3, the 500, the 1,000, the 15, and good sportsmanship right there. Tatsuya Shinhama, excellent race. He'll be up on the podium with Stolz mirror momentarily. And the final results are in. Stolz at 34.43 for gold, Laurent Debray of Canada for silver, and Tatsuya Shinhama for bronze. And a nice race by Yenning Debu. The 20-year-old finishes 4th. And the rest of the results: Zurich 13th. Gao, the Olympic champion of the 500, finishes 11th. He was out of that opening pair. And Stoppelmoor and Kojima. Kojima crashed into the pads out of the first corner. Stoppelmoor clipped the toe of his blades inside the opening 100 meters. They finished 19th and 20th. So we will now take a look. The updated standings, pretty easy to figure out after one event on the men's side. 60 points for the winner, 54 for second place, 48 for third. That's why it was so important for Dubreuil by a couple of thousandths of a second to edge out Shinohama. 6 more points belong to Dubreuil as a result. So they will get the ice ready. One more event on the women's and men's side coming up, but they'll have the award ceremony in between as they get the ice ready for the 1,500 meter. The women will kick it off. The men will close it out. Some of the names we'll see in the women's draw: Joa Biyun, the world all-around champion from the Netherlands. We'll see her. Miho Takagi, who was basically unbeatable at this distance last year, winning all 5 events. Came against Brittany Bowe in the same pair for the United States, the 17-year-old Angel Daliman of the Netherlands. She'll be in pair 7. Then on the men's side, we'll see Connor Howe of Canada in the 9th pair. We'll see Stolz again against Ningxian Yang in the final pair, in pair 10 of the 1,500. So a lot of big names and interesting races as we kick off World Cup action from Nagano. So stay tuned. We'll have the awards ceremony. We will come back in about, I think it's scheduled for about 10 minutes from now to begin the women's 1,500 meters. So we'll step aside. Stay tuned. More action. World Cup Nagano, the opening stop in the World Cup circuit here in 2024 and 2025. Back with the 1,500 meters in a few.
500m 競技の表彰式を開始いたします。 Victory ceremony for 500 meters women。 メダルは国際スケート連盟副会長トロン・エスペリより、副賞は公益財団法人日本スケート連盟副会長浜野勉より授与されます。 The presenters are Mr. Tron Espeli, ISU Vice President for the medals, and Mr. Tsutomu Hamano, JSF Vice President for the gift. Third place, Min Sung Kim of Korea. Of Poland. First place, Yoshida of Japan. メダリストたちにもう一度盛大な拍手をお願いいたします。Please give a big round of applause to the medalists. 以上で女子 500m 競技の表彰式を終了いたします。Victory ceremony.
じゃあスタンバイ。
続きまして男子 500m 競技の表彰式を開始いたします。 Victory ceremony for 500 meters men。 メダルは国際スケート連盟副会長トロン・エスペリより、副賞は公益財団法人日本スケート連盟副会長浜野勉より授与されます。 The presenters are Mr. Tron Espeli, ISU Vice President for the medals, and Mr. Tsutomu Hamano, JSF Vice President for the gift. Third place, Tetsuya Shinhama of Japan. Second place, Laura DeBray of Canada.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you, Tak. Alors, salut Nathan, je vous aime. Thank you. Arigato.
First place, Jordan Stolz of USA.皆様、メダリストたちにもう一度盛大な拍手をお願いいたします。This is a big round of applause to the medalists. 以上で男子 500m 競技の表彰式を終了いたします。This concludes the 500 meters men victory ceremony.
We're just slightly under short of 5 minutes to the start of the next competition. For the 1500 meter race for women.
競技開始4分前、競技開始4分前です。この後行われます競技は女子 1500m です。
In 2 minutes, we'll be returning to competition. Women's 1500-meter race. The first couple pairs, please get ready.
競技開始2分前です。女子 1500m 1組に出場する選手はご準備ください。
Back to the opening World Cup action of this brand new season from the M-Wave. The Nagano Olympic Memorial Arena ready now for the start of the 1500 meters on the women's side. Look at the 10 pairs as Miho Takagi. We'll see her in the final pair. Joy Biyun of the Netherlands. Brittany Bowe and Kimmy Getz will be side by side for America in pair number 8. So 20 skaters will vie for the first gold in the women's 1500 meter over the course of this World Cup season. Last year, Miho Takagi won all 5 events that she entered in the 1500. She did not race in Quebec. That's the only one that she failed to win. It wasn't even for a lack of trying. Joy Biyun won the other events in Quebec. We will see her coming up in pair number 9. So ready to open it up. We'll see 2 from Japan in this opening pair in Kosaka. Kubo, the 20-year-old in the red armband, starting in the outer. There's a look at Kosaka.
Is Rin Kosaka of Japan.
Saw her at the Four Continents last week. Achinoe City, 6th place finish in the 1500. There's the 20-year-old Kubo. Personal best set back in October of 159.9.
Ready.
So 3 3/4 laps in the 1500. Men's 1500 will follow. And the B division of the 1500 has already been raced a few hours ago. And as we mentioned, really about the midpoint of that women's 500 meter when we saw Suzanne Schulting from short track try long track. Ariana Fontana, 34-year-old two-time Olympic champion, who's trying to combine a kind of end-of-career double between long track and short track. She was in the B division of the 1500, had a nice race, finished 5th. So she's hoping to compete in both long and short track at the Olympics in her home country in Italy coming up in a couple of years. So perhaps we will see Fontana in some A division races over the course of this World Cup season. As you see the numbers there on the first full lap, 28 highs for both Kubo and Kosaka. Right armband of Kosaka right there on the right side of your screen. Hearing the bell, final 400 meters. She will come across the line at 125.6. 30.6 on that lap. Up from 28.7 the previous lap. Five skaters again of the 20 on the women's side here in this 1500 from Japan. The United States will have Greta Myers and then Getz and Bowe in the same pair. Canada will have Valerie Maltais coming up. Even a Blondin in pair number 6 against Myers of the United States, as we see Kosaka closing in 33.8 on her last full lap, 159.42 for Kosaka. So Kosaka's full lap times at 28.7, 30.6, and then 33.8 to close things out. Kubo just off of her personal best, 2 flat .57, just by about a half a second. Now the second pair,
Starting from the
Yang
inner lane
Bin-yu,
is
ninth
Bin-yu
place
Yang
finish
of
in
China.
Quebec last year, her only top 10 in the 1500.
On the outer lane
And Isabel
is
van
Isabel
Elst,
van Elst of Belgium.
the only Belgian skater here in the women's
Go to the
1500.
start.
No top 10s yet in the World Cup career for Van Elst.
Ready.
2組がスタートしました。インナーレーンからはヨン・ヒンユ中国、アウターレーンからはイザベル・ファンエルストベルギー。
Check the opening 300. Van Elst and Yang Van Elst open for 26.02, Yang 26.08.
300メートルファンエルスト26秒02、ヨウ26秒08。
Conserve a little bit of energy into this 1500 first full lap. Van Elst 28.8. That's right around the time of Kosaka on her first lap. A little bit of time, especially her second full lap to third. There's always a drop off, but for her it was a little more precipitous than others, 3.2 seconds. There's the bell for Yang and for Van Elst. Those laps 30.2 for Yang, 30.7 for Van Elst. Yang coming through that last corner. Van Elst will finish on the inner. Yang Bin-yu striding toward the line. She will win the pair, and the time is 1:57.31.
Finishing time for Bin-yu
Van
Yang
Elst
of China
clocks
is
under 1:58.
1:57.31. And finishing time for Isabel van Elst of Belgium is
See the reaction there by Van Elst. Van Elst 1:56.96 was her personal best. A little less than a second off of that. And the ice is not appearing to be all that fast, at least so far on day one. So if you can approach a PB, we've only seen a couple of personal bests so far through the first 22 pairs of skaters. So if you're close, consider that a win as far as your effort on the ice. There, see the stretch by Yang. I talked about the drop off of Osaka from her second full lap to her last full lap of 3.2 seconds. Yang tightened it up, just a 1.9 second spread. Van Elst was a 1.6 second spread. We'll follow those numbers as we continue on. Here is
Valerie Maltais of
first
Canada.
of two Canadians in this women's 1500. Valerie Maltais had a fourth place
On the
finish
outer
in
lane is
Quebec
Caitlin
last
McGregor
year. And
of Switzerland.
from Switzerland, Caitlin McGregor, who was kind of all around the top 10 last year. Best was a 12th place finish, but most of her finishes were in that 12 to 15 range. Trying to make a step forward here in this new campaign.
Ready.
And a false start. Marco Hesselink is our starter. The false start charged against Maltais.
False start in the lane, not stable. Go to the start. Ready.
You heard the description of the false start not being stable on Maltais of Canada. A little bit more tenuous coming off the line, making sure she doesn't DQ herself with a second false start. So off we go. Third pair of the women's 1500. And McGregor is going to open in 26:06.
McGregor of Switzerland, 26.06. Maltais of Canada, 26.34.
Maltais 26:34. McGregor benefits from the draft as she transposes over into the inner. We'll check this split here. 28.5 Maltais, 28.6 McGregor. Still faster pace than the intervals we've seen from the previous skater. This is just pair 3. Head-on look at Valerie Maltais. Bell lap rings. A 30-0 for Maltais, 37 for McGregor. And we'll check how the legs and the body is holding up here in this final lap for Maltais. A strong last lap would likely put her on top after the opening 3 pairs. And we'll see how the rest of the field will hold up. And Maltais is going to win this pair over McGregor, and the time is going to be clocked at 1:57.26, and that is just enough to take down Yang in her time. And you'll see the look of agony on the face of Maltais. You see her competing back at full strength. The 34-year-old from Canada right now through 3 pairs. In front, 1:57.26 officially. That final lap, 32.3 for Maltais. See just the utter exhaustion right there. Again, first event, she is feeling it and really grabbing at that left
Introducing
thigh.
skaters competing in race 4.
So now to pair 4, we'll see
Starting from the inner lane is
Viklund of Norway, 24-year-old, 5th place finish in Beijing last year. And
Ayano Sato of
Ayano
Japan.
Sato, 27. One of the 5 competitors from Japan here in the 1500.
Ready.
Clean start. Sato on the left side of your screen coming straight at you. Viklund on the right. Now, Maltais was able to kind of churn it up over her final couple of laps. Her start was not terribly quick, but again, 1500, you still have enough time to make it up over the 3 full laps. Sato goes out in 25.77, fastest split so far. It's a little bit wide. Look, head on at Sato. 28.9, 28.5 for Viklund. Viklund benefits from the draft from Sato. Long strides for Viklund. And the bell for Ronja Viklund, 30.4 on that lap. Sato 31.0. Both have now fallen off of the pace of Maltais. Last corner for Vigeland. Maltais 157.26 is her time, and Vigeland will get to the line a little short of that. 4th position so far after 4 pairs.
Finishing time
Closes in 32.55.
is 1 minute 57.94.
So 157.94 for Vigeland. Saito 158.42. Saito right now is 6th.
ただいまの結果、ダフネ・ビクルント、ノルウェー、1分57秒94。佐藤綾乃、日本、1分58秒42。以上です。
Still have Ebony Blondin, who got up to a great starts on the medal stand essentially almost every event last week at the Four Continents. She'll be in pair 6. Kimmy Getz, Brittany Bowe from the U.S. in pair 8. Troleva Union. Groeneveld of the Netherlands in pair 9. And then we'll see Antoinette de Jong and Miho Takagi close things out in pair 10. So a lot of big names yet to come up here in the 1500. Takagi, what a year she had last year, especially at this event. World single distance champion in both the 1000s, the 1500, gold of the sprint championships, track record, world record of this distance.
Introducing skaters competing in race 5. Starting from the inner lane is Melissa Whitehair of Netherlands.
Ready for pair number 5, Melissa Waifia, 29-year-old from the Netherlands, on the podium once last year in Quebec, finished with the bronze, and Momoko Horikawa, a young 21-year-old from
Go to the
Japan.
start. Ready.
Clean start. Waifia in the very common skin suit for the Dutch. The orange and the blue, the orange dominant color. Horikawa had a 6th place finish at the World Cup, the 1500 last year, won events. Waifia goes out in 26.63. 26.93 for Horikawa.
300m ワイピー26秒63、堀川26秒93。
So here's Waifia out of the corner, closing out the opening lap. Maltais' first lap was 28.5, so we'll compare the times here. For Waifia crosses 29.2, about 3/4 of a second slower than Maltais' first full lap.
700 meter for Melissa Whitehair.
You see as a result both a second plus off of the pace around the midway mark of this race.
700m ワイピー55秒88。
Waifia pulling tight against that line around the corner.
56秒14ラップ
400 meters to go, and we'll check this lap time for Waifia. 30.09, Horikawa 30.5. They're not making up any ground on Maltais. Yang and Van Els right now 1, 2, 3.
1100m ワイピー
5 more pairs to go after this one.
ラップ30秒09、堀川1分26秒67ラップ30秒53。
Waifia's personal best 151.7. And a move by Horikawa. Looks like Waifia might still hang on and will in this pair, but a 157.85 for Waifia.
Finishing time for Melissa Whitehair of Netherlands is 1 minute 57.85.
So the finish by Waifia 31.88 gets her to 3rd position, but again 5 more pairs to go.
ただ
Horikawa
いまの結果、メリッサ・ワイヒー、オランダ、1分57秒85。
unable to close down the stretch, made it tight over the final 50 meters or so, but Horikawa finishes at 157.97. That's good for 6th. So those 2 skaters will clear the ice. We'll see Waifia Can't read a whole lot by her, the look on her face. Can't read her mind. And now we get to pair number 6. And even in Blondin, just a brilliant opening week at the Four Continents last week. 4-medal haul.
On the outer lane is Greta Myers
Bronze
of
in the
USA.
3001, the mass start, among others. And there is
Go to the start.
Greta Myers of the United States, Minnesota native.
Ready.
It's a good little test here for Greta Myers. Ebony Blondin is a high-level, very consistent skater across a number of different distances. Hard to really say what Blondin's best is. I would almost venture to say it's probably the mass start. She is almost always on the podium in those races. But here for Greta Myers, she knows that she's going to get a really good effort from it even at Blondin. And if she can win this pair against Blondin, that'll go miles for the confidence and belief for Greta Myers. They both go out pretty quickly. 25.91 for Myers, 26.0 for Blondin. Now the crossover on the back. Blondin shifts to the outer. And again, Maltais, first full lap was 28.5, 28.5. And Blondin and Myers off pretty good pace so far. We'll check the first lap time. Blondin 28.2. Myers 28.6, so Blondin right now still in front. 4 pairs to go after this one. But certainly brimming with confidence based on the end of her campaign and the start to this new campaign last week at the Four Continents. Blondin strays a little bit. Myers losing a little bit of touch. There's a pretty good gap. The bell for Blondin, still in front by almost a second, 29.7. That's a really good second full lap for Blondin. Myers goes in 30.9. And Blondin has a chance to put down a pretty good time that could be tough to chase if she can hang on here through the pain of this final corner in the last 150 meters or so. Maltais' time is 1:57.26. Blondin likely to undercut her teammate by maybe a second plus, and she does by 1.6. It's a 31.66 close for Blondin and a 1:55.65.
Of Canada, 1:55.65. Finishing time for Greta Myers of USA is 1:59.45.
Blondin, I think she likes the time there. Myers finishes 1:59.45. So off the pace in that pair by almost 4 seconds behind Blondin, but Blondin is just so experienced. Again, multiple distances, knows how to pace herself, knows what the time feels like, and had plenty in the tank, and was pretty flat by those standards going from lap to lap. She went 28.2, 29.7, 31.6. And so the two Canadians with 4 pairs to go right now are 1-2, Blondin and Maltais. Yang Ben-Yu still right now 3rd, but again, the heavy hitters are on the way. But that'll be an interesting time. We'll see how well it holds up. Could be a podium spot for Blondin. We'll see, right? The ice not terribly fast. Most of the times are far off of PBs, but one of the best overall races we've seen. So here is the 17-year-old Angel Daleman of the Netherlands, the youngest junior world champion ever, and that was in 2023. Won a world junior championship at the age of 15 years, 327 days. 17 years of age, here she is in a senior event. And Han Mei, the 26-year-old from China, number 2 ranked 1,500-meter skater last year, her opposition. Han Mei, a couple of second-place finishes last season at the 1,500. Finished second behind Joy Yoon in Quebec and second behind Miho Takagi in Beijing. And each of those two skaters are still on the way here in the women's 1,500. But really interested to watch how Daleman holds up. Again, just 17 years old. And the World Junior Championships a couple of years ago, I shouldn't even say a couple of years ago, back in 2023, she won 6 gold medals. Basically won every event. Now the 17-year-old on the senior squad, at least for the first couple of World Cups. So really anxious to see kind of how she looks against the senior level competition and how her skills and her time holds up. There she is coming at you. The first full lap, 28:26 for Dalaman, Han 27:9. Each of those times are beneath that to even a Blondin at this about midway stage of the race. Dalaman, her two aunts, both skated in short track in the 1998 Olympics, which were right here on this ice. The short track ice of Nagano. Twin aunts, Melanie and Maureen. Han goes 29.8, Dalaman 30.3, final lap. Blondin, 155.65. Here comes Han Mei around the corner. And Mei will straighten out, and she's going to win this pair. 155.65, the time to beat, and she will do it. 155.18. And Dalaman, 156.95. That's right now on the podium, but you still have three big pairs to go. But a really nice race by Dalaman. But Han Mei, right now your leader. He finishes in 32.02, lost a little bit of time compared to Blondin's final lap, but it was the speed early in the race that set Han up. So now three pairs to go. 155.18 is the new leader. And now if the United States is going to get on the podium, it will come from one or both of these competitors in the next pair, because we will see Kimi Getz and Brittany Bowe in the same pairing. They certainly do this a lot in practice, but this time it's for real. Getz will start on the inner. 30 years of age, bronze, the world's single distance last year, the 500. Here's Brittany Bowe, the two-time Olympic medalist. This is more her distance. We saw her earlier today in the 500 meters. It's a bit of a mismatch. But now the 1500, this is like the back of her hand.
Ready.
Bowe with the red armband on the left side of your screen. The fifth-ranked 1,500-meter skater on the women's side last year. Getz was number 10. But Getz made a 1,500-meter podium last year. Bowe did not. Had a couple of fifth-place finishes. But Brittany Bowe always ultra dangerous at this distance and also the 1,000. And they both go out in 25 lows. Bowe will draft off the Getz. Now Mahan started out quickly. First full lap time was sub-28. Then her second full lap was just a hair below 30. So we'll check the times in this first full lap. 28 low, 27.9 for Bowe, 28.2 for Getz. So Bowe basically right in line with what Mahan did. But again, this is the proper distance for Brittany Bowe in the United States. See how this next lap looks for Bowe. Swinging that right arm with the right armband. And the bell lap for Bowe and for Getz. And the lap time for Brittany Bowe is 30.3. And that's about 5/10 behind Han's middle full lap. And now Bowe is behind the green. The final back straight and the final crossover. Bowe will finish on the inner. And really powering through that right arm. 155.18 is the time for Han Mei. Bowe is going to easily beat Getz here, but will she knock down Han? She will not. 155.77, and that will knock Daliman off of the podium position. Bo right now in that precarious third position. A 34.0 for Getz on that last lap. And that drops her to 11. So Brittany Bowe with a couple of pairs to go. Not really where you want to be, especially with the quality of skaters behind her. Third position with 2 pairs to go. So Han still on top. 3 skaters have gone below 156. Han, Blondin, and Bowe. There's a look at Evany Blondin. Post rates stretching. Now to pair number 9. And the world all-around champ from last year. Right there in the white armband. Joy Bjorn. Won 1 event in the 1,500-meter distance last year in Quebec. And here's the Gronewold.
Go to the start.
A second, third, a couple of fifths for Gronewold.
Ready.
1 more pair to go. That's De Jong and Takagi. Quick instruction from the Dutch coaches as each of these 2 Dutch competitors comes by on that first pass. So Bjorn in the white armband, 26-11. Gronewold 26-26 again. You see parenthetically slow starts comparatively speaking, but now they will gear it up and make their moves. Bjorn, a bronze medalist at the world single distance in the 1,500, 1 gold in the 5,000, so you know she's capable of carrying through the longer distances. There's a look at Bjorn right there. 28.2 in her first full lap. Again, Han May's first full lap was 27.9. That's the coaching staff again for the 2 Dutch skaters. You hear those voices in their sleep. The bell lap. Bjorn in front, 29.8. Right even with Han May's second full lap. Gronewold 30.1. So Bjorn is going to need a big last lap. Again, Brittany Bowe right now in third position, 155.77. Han May 155.18. So horseshoeing out of this last corner. We'll see what Bjorn can throw down. Again, 155.18 is the time for Han May, and she's going to be short of it. She will knock Bowe off of the podium position. Bjorn 155.58, so 4/10 in arrears of Han May. And Gronewold, a 5th place finish with 1 pair to go. So out of those 3 full laps compared to Han May, Bjorn picked up time on Han on only that last lap, and it was just 0.7 of a second. It was not enough. So Han is now assured of some type of medal here in this opening World Cup here in Nagano in the 1,500. And what will it be? She awaits. And she is trying to get a little warmer. So now the final pair of the women's 1,500. Antoinette de Jong, 29-year-old from the Netherlands. And Miho Takagi. So there's de Jong. Second place 3 times last year, the 1,500, all runner-up to this skater, Miho Takagi. The world record holder, the track record holder. She won all 5 1,500-meter events. And gold in the 1,500 last week, the 4 continents on top of it.
Ready.
So should Han Mei win gold, she will earn it because Takagi, great form last year and already in great form at the early stages last week, the 4 counted. She only skated in that one race. Could have skated more, opted out. So 1 gold in the 1500, but wanted to spend a little bit more time training on the ice here in Nagano to get ready for the World Cup season. So virtually invincible at the 1500-meter distance last year. The only World Cup event she did not race was in Quebec. She goes out in 25:33. And again, it is Takagi's track record of 152.78. And that does not appear to be in any kind of peril here this weekend. So now we'll check Takagi's first full lap. 28.2. And Han went out in her first full lap with 27.9. Takagi mentally knows what she needs to do over the course of these 3 full laps to get beneath 155.1. She will hope to pick up a little bit of ground on Han Mei on this lap. Mei's middle lap was 29.8. Let's check Takagi. She is 29.8. So flat, didn't pick up any time. She still has about 2,500 to quarter of a second to pick up. Can she do it? Meanwhile, De Jong, a tight draft here on the final crossover. So Takagi is going to finish on the inner, De Jong on the outer. There's the footwork by Takagi. 155.18. Is Takagi going to start this year off with another gold? Yes, she will. By 16 hundredths, Miho Takagi starts the new World Cup season right where last year left off. Another gold in the 1500 meters. A 31.6 coming home. Just enough. And so Han Mei will settle for a hard-earned silver out of pair 7. That certainly meets her approval. And Jo Byun of the Netherlands will finish bronze, 155.58. So Miho Takagi, it is her distance, and it has been for the better part of a year. And on the home ice, nothing really more special than this. So that'll give you an idea. The track record set by Takagi a couple of years ago, 152.7. She wins gold at this World Cup event on the very same ice in 155.02. So there's what the lap times have been. You're doing some quick calculations, and you know what 31.6 feels like on the last lap of the 1500, and that's what Takagi came in and didn't have a lot of margin, but she got there and got it done, and she will be on top of the podium. And as you see, the Zambonias are out to resurface the ice, and we'll have about a 10-minute break before the men's 1500, just to give you a little bit of a preview of what we will see. Some of the names in the 1500. Kjeld Naus, the world record holder of the 1500. He'll be in pair 8. Connor Howe of Canada in pair 9. And in the final pair, appropriately so, Ning Zhongyan of China and the United States, Jordan Stolz. So stay tuned for that coverage of the men's 1500 meter of World Cup Nagano will begin in about 10 minutes time.
once again, we'd like to remind you the next competition, men's 1500-meter race, will start at 3:56.
次の男子 1500m のスタート時刻は15時56分15時56分男子 1500m スタートとなっております。
10秒5を切りたいという100の入りについて吉田は語っていました。インスタート、いい反応だ吉田。稲川もいい
反応良かったですね。
低い姿勢で吉田が先行していく。
10秒4で来ると37秒近づいてきます。
10秒4台出た。10秒46、稲川10秒62。
吉田選手かなりいいですね。このまま稲川選手が後ろから来ますので、しっかりと落ち着いて冷静に最後まで滑り切ってほしいです。
In 5 minutes, we'll be returning to our next and final competition of the day, men's 1500-meter race.
競技開始5分前、競技開始5分前です。この後行われます競技は男子 1500m です。
「 In 2 minutes, we'll be returning to the competition with men's 1500-meter race. The first pair, Alessio Trentini and Bart Swings, please get ready.
競技開始2分前です。男子 1500m1 組に出場する選手はご準備ください。
And back inside the Nagano Olympic Memorial Arena, or known as the M-Wave. Ready now for the final events of this opening day here in Nagano, the men's 1500 meter. You see some big names, including Jordan Stolz, who has already won gold earlier in this session, claiming the 500 gold a little while ago. Will be matched up against Ning Chongyan coming up in the final pair of this 1500. And here is a look at those pairs. Trentini and Swings in the opening pair. David Leroux of Canada and Stefan Emily of Germany in pair number 4. And there's the Stolz and Ning at the bottom. Connor Howe representing Canada in pair 9. Kjeld Naus, the world record holder. He'll be in pair number 8. So the final events. In day 2, we'll see the 3,000 in the women, 5,000 meter for the men, and the 1,000 women's and men's. And then Sunday, the rest of the balance sheet. There's the 30-year-old Alessio Trentini, 22-year-old Olympian from Italy. And there's Bart Swings, mass start specialist. Gold in Beijing, silver in Pyeongchang, 2-time Olympian from Belgium.
Ready.
So away we go, and away we come back. False start will bring back both Trentini and Swings. Our starter is Oh Young-suk of Korea. Let's see who wobbled. Might have seen the shoulders raise a little bit of Bart Swings. Was it on him? Yes. False start on Bart.
Power start, Eitrem, last paper. Go to the start. Ready.
Clean start this time. Swings on the left, Trentini on the right. Putting things up here in the men's 1500 meter. Just amazing to watch Bart Swings in those mass starts. I mean, that is a specialty. It is a skill. The tactics and strategy has to be perfect. And it's no surprise, but every mass start you see, Schulting and Blondin on the women's side. You see Swings almost invariably on the men's side at the top or near the top. Swings, though, the 1500 last year's best finish was 6th at the World Cup stop in Poland. And we'll check Swings first full lap. Goes out 26.3, 26.6 for Trentini. Crossover, Swings moving right to left on your screen. Trentini switches to the inner. First 2 of the Group A starters here in Nagano on the men's 1500. Final lap. Trentini 27.4 for Swings. So tight into the final 400 meters. Again, the opening of 10 pairs. Swings' personal best is just under 142 and a half. And again, not many personal bests are being established, at least on the opening day here in Nagano. Swings is going to win this one in a 146.84.
Finishing time for Alessio Trentini of Italy.
Track record is 144.72.
Swings of Belgium, 1 minute 46.84.
Set 3 years ago
た
by
だいまの結果、
Satoru
アレキア
Ichinohe.
トレンキにイタリア1分48秒04
It swings at 146.84.
1分46秒84以上です。
About a 1 second variation on each of those full laps from swings. And that's what you'll watch over the course of these races. First off, who goes out faster in the opening 300. But then what those intervals look like from lap to lap.
Introducing the skaters competing as a second pair.
So now the second pair, Rico Tsuchiya, 26-year-old from Japan, and Christian Ulekliev from Norway will start in the outer with the red armband.
Starting from the inner lane is Riku Tsuchiya of Japan.
And one top 10 finish last year in the 15.
On the outer lane is Christian Ulekliev of Norway.
Ulekliev
Go to the
represented
start.
Norway, personal best a couple of years ago.
Ready.
Norway will have 4 representatives in this draw. Japan will have 5. There are only 20 skaters here in the A division. Combine those two countries, Norway and Japan will have almost half, 9 of the 20. The United States only with Stolz in the field here in the 1500.
Ulekliev of Norway, 24.21. Tsuchiya of Japan,
Tsuchiya,
24.32.
24.32. Ulekliev at a tenth faster. Try to carry that speed in the first full lap. Ulekliev crosses at 26.4 on his first full lap. Swings was 26.3. But now we'll see how the speed holds up here. Again, swings. Not that he'll be our early barometer. He's facing about a 1 full second drop off lap to lap. The bell now for Tsuchiya and Ulekliev. And this one's close. 1/10 of a second separating the two. Last lap. 27.5 for Tsuchiya. It's a 1 second drop off from the previous full lap. Last corner, just a little bit of a wobble there by Tsuchiya. Ulekliev will finish on the inner, does take the lead, and Ulekliev to the line. He's going to win the pair. And not fast enough, though, to take down Bart Swings. They lost it on that last lap. 147.26 for Ulekliev. 147.38 for Tsuchiya.
1分47秒38クリスティアン・ガンメ・ウレクレイブノルウェー1分47秒26以上です。
So Swings through 2 pairs still on top. Tsuchiya, it's a 1.5 second loss of time from lap to lap. That's what cost him. There's a look at Jordan Stolz. We'll have a busy program here in Nagano. And his focus is to try to win the World Cup titles in the 500, the 1,000, and the 1,500.
Introducing skaters competing in the third pair.
Stolz had great success when he raced the 1,500 last year at the World Cup level. Raced in 5 to 6 events, had 3 wins,
On the outer
2
lane
seconds
is
in the
Stephen
others.
Engstrand of Norway.
Third pair, Kazuya Yamada of Japan on the inner.
Go
Had
to
a
the
third place
start.
finish in Stavanger last year, and Didrik Engstrand, one of the 4 Norwegians here in the 15.
Ready.
Strand is the only teenager in this men's 1,500 meter field. He's 19 years old. We've seen a handful of teens so far in the opening day here at Nagano. 17-year-old Angel Dalaban of the Netherlands in the women's 1500. And had an excellent race. Acquitted herself very, very well. First senior event.
300m 山田23秒77ラップ20ストラン23秒93
Yamada takes it out hard, 23.77. We'll try to maintain it here. Strawn now beginning to track him down. 26.1 Yamada, still a second clear of the field. 26.2 for Strawn. Each of those times faster than Swing's first full lap. Strawn though, 19. He's strong on the ice. Looks very good. There's the bell. Yamada 27.4, Strawn at 27.5, both ahead of Swing's pace in the final lap. Let's see what the 19-year-old Strawn has, laboring a little bit behind Yamada. There's the last crossover. And here comes Yamada spinning out of that last corner, and here comes Strawn on the inside for Norway, and the 19-year-old has some gas left in the tank. Can he pull off this pair win? And Yamada spills out a bit, but does win his pair by 200ths. Looks like he's all right. He was putting a lot of effort into that finish and that stretch. 28.6 to wrap things up for Strawn. But Yamada at 146.36, he's feeling that last effort on his hands and knees, spilled into the pads, delicately get it up. But he's your leader. A little dizzy. He's your leader after 3 pairs. It looked like Strawn in that home straight was going to get him here, didn't it? And then the front of your screen right there, there's, yeah, both blades caught. The right overlapped the left here on that last stride in by Yamada. Yeah, caught it. Hydroplane, and called it a day right there. And feeling some of the effects. But he got the job done.
Skaters competing in
so pair 4. We'll see one of the 2 Canadians in this 1500. Stefan Amele of Germany. He'll be on the inner. He's 28 years old. David LaRue.
On the other lane is David LaRue.
Only raced a couple of 1500s last year in Obihiro in Beijing on the Asian stint of the World Cup season. Had a 14th place finish and an 18th place finish.
Ready.
It's been a pretty good run so far for LaRue since Team Canada departed a couple of weeks ago. LaRue a silver medal in the mass start in the 4 continents last weekend. So 1 medal going home with him for an individual efforts. So a little bit wide there was Emile. Both open in 23 high.
300m ラルー23秒89エメレ23秒93
Emile had a 15th place finish in Quebec. That was his best last year. Evenly matched race at this point. 50-13 for Emile, 50-12 for LaRue. Although off the pace of Yamada, the leader at the moment.
700m ラルー50秒12ラップ26秒23エメレ50秒13ラップ26秒20
Not a big gathering of fans here in Nagano for the opening day, so you can hear the voices of the coaches echoing all throughout this arena. There's the bell. Emily drops to 27.2. was faster than the second full lap of Yamada. He's made up some ground and has a chance to take that top spot away from Yamada here if he negotiates the corner and accelerates as best as he can around the final 100 meters here. We'll see if MLA can get underneath the 146.36. No. Falters a bit down the stretch. Third position so far. Got down to a 29.2 in that last lap. It was a 2-second drop from the second to third full lap for MLA. That cost him.
1分46秒62デビッド・ラルーカナダ1分47秒31以上です。
So 4 of the 10 pairs in the books. And again, we still have Jordan Stolz and Ning coming up in the last pair. Joe Benabars and Connor Howe in pair number 9. Kale Nouse will be in pair 8. Kanamura in pair 7. So the bigger names are about to arrive here in Nagano for the men's 1500.
Competing in the 5th pair.
And here is pair number 5.
Starting from the inner lane is Ryota Kojima of Japan.
And he's matched against Norway's Peter Kongshaug, 23 years old, who actually won a 1,500 meter World Cup event last year and beat Jordan Stolz in the process. That was in Poland.
Ready.
Kongshaug, bronze in the world single distance in the 1500. That win in the World Cup over Stolz was by 7 100ths, but a win over Stolz is a major feather in anybody's cap. Kongshaug can replicate some of that magic. Here's a look at Kojima. Kojima goes out in 23.47.
Kojima of Japan,
23.87.
Kongshaug of Norway, 23.87.
300メートル小島23秒47、コングハウ23秒8。
Successful opening day for Team Japan already. Golds in each of the 2 individual women's events here on day 1. That was a big surprise as we open things up. Yoshida winning the 500. And Miho Takagi, big last lap to win the 1500 a few minutes ago. Final lap. Kongshaug a 27.0. Right now pacing for the lead. Kojima right now is second. So the final back straights and crossover. Kongshaug will finish on the inner. Mouth the gate, one arm behind his back, driving. 146.36 is Yamada's time. And Kongshaug, he's having a great last lap, and he'll get there in 145 low. That is a terrific finish by Peter Kongshaug.
46.97 and Peter Kongshaug of Norway 1 minute 45.16.
Kongshaug closed in 28.5. So Yamada pushed down to the second spot. Kojima finished in 30 flat. He's in 6th. So there's your new leader. Peter Kongshaug with half the field yet to go. You could tell he really wanted it over that last lap. So there are the current top 6. Yamada now 2nd, Kojima 6th. Yamada still feeling like he's in pretty good shape here. His day's done. Will he be on the medal stand or not? Big names on the way, though.
Introducing
and that will
skaters
include
competing in 6 pair.
the skater who owns the track record here
Starting
at
from the inner lane
1500s. That's Taro
is
Ichinohe.
Seitaro Ichinohe of Japan.
Track record was set a little more than 3 years ago at 144.72.
On the other lane, Sander Eitrem of Norway.
There's Sander Eitrem of Norway. Bronze in the world single distance in the 5,000. Fourth place finish last year in Beijing in the 1500.
Ready.
So Eitrem on the left side of your screen and Ichinohe on the right. Really good efforts by a lot of these Japanese skaters on their home ice. They spent a lot of time on this track. Ichinohe out in 24:10. Conserve a little bit of energy. 25.9 for Eitrem. 26.0 for Ichinohe. Ichinohe is really working it. Stay close here and draft as much as he can off of Eitrem. One more lap to go. You'll hear the bell. 26.7 for Eitrem. Pretty good second lap by Eitrem. He only dropped off 0.8 from his previous. Ichinohe and Eitrem coming around the final corner. The time to beat is Kongshaug's 1:45.16, and there's your new leader. A 27.6 final lap for Eitrem. That was a well-navigated race for him. Ichinohe 1:45.47, third place right now, but 4 pairs to go. Yeah, Eitrem went 25.9, 26.7, 27.6. So he didn't even get, he went under a full second, a little bit less than that on each of the full laps. It's the first time we've seen that type of narrow spread and variance. It wasn't the quickest start, but he made up for it by those type of intervals. So Kongshaug is now into second, Ichinohe third, but that's tenuous. 4 pairs to go.
Introducing the skaters competing in the 7th pair.
And here in pair 7,
Starting
there's
from the inner lane is
29-year-old Wesley
of
Deich.
Netherlands.
The third place finish at Salt Lake
On the other
last year
lane is
behind
Taiyo
Stolz and Ning.
Nonomura
And
of Japan.
there's 23-year-old Taiyo Nonomura. No podiums for him in the 15 last year. Did have a 5th place finish in Obihiro.
Ready.
7組がスタートしました。インナーレーンからはルズイ・ダイス、オランダ、アウターレーンからは森戸太陽、日本。
Just to give you a little bit of perspective here, when we're talking about the full lap times and how Eitrem was able to stay less than a second from lap to lap to lap. He went up by 0.8 and then up by 0.9. Last week of the 4 continents for Jordan Stolz, who won it. Now again, his laps were faster, generally speaking, but he went 25.6, 27.0, so that's 1.4, and then 28.3, a 1.3 increase. Eitrem, just to put in perspective, went up by 0.08, or 0.8, and then 0.9. So food for thought as we, again, monitor the lap times or the full lap times. At least 25.7, same for Nonomura.
700m の山田49秒23ラップ25秒74ダイス49秒 秒47が25秒
See Kale now is coming up with the next pair. Oh, down goes Daish. That was a hard slam into the wall coming out of that corner. Bell lap now for Nanomura. The ice is his.
1100 meter for Nanomura, 1 minute 16.51, lap time 27.28.
So Nanomura on the crossover to the inner for his final corner. Eitrem's time 1:44.59. And here comes Nanomura. 1:44.59, and he crosses in 1:45.03. Second position, chasing Kongshaug down to third. So Eitrem dodges one of the final four pairs and still on top. And Daish is up. And again, just wanting to complete the race, so he gets full credit for it. Talking with his coaching staff as he slides by. Clock still ticking on Daish. And an applause from the fans as Daish now comes around the corner. I believe this is his final corner. So 3 pairs to go, and the 22-year-old from Norway, Sander Eitrem, still in front, but again, you have Ning and Stolz in the final pair. You have the world record holder, Kale Naus, coming up next. And Connor Howe, who had some very good finishes last year. He's in between in pair number 9. And there is the finish for Daish.
Finishing time for Wesley Daish of Netherlands is 2 minutes 57.54.
So Daish officially finishes in 2:57.54. There's the little slip, hand down, couldn't hold the balance, and bang into that
Finishing
wall.
time for Taiyo Nanomura of Japan is 1 minute
Heels
45.0.
overhead.
ただいまの結果、ウェブリーダイスオランダ2分57秒54、野々村太陽日本1分45秒03以上です。
We'd like to inform you
Across
that
the line,
we will
Nanomura.
be inspecting the ice.
Daish
We will
in
have
the
delay for
background.
2 minutes. We will have delay for 2 minutes.
氷の確認をいたします。2分ほどお待ちください。
So Eitrem, 6 skaters to go. There's a shot at a podium, perhaps. And again, if you're just kind of dipping into coverage, times have not been fast here on day one. Only a couple of personal bests. On the women's side of the 500, the top end speed just did not show really for anyone, whether it was Aaron Jackson or Yuta Leerdam. And Yukino Yoshida was the surprise gold medalist in that women's 500. There's a look at Jordan Stolz. It took a pretty big last lap for Stolz to claim gold. But going back to that women's 500, Aaron Jackson finished 9th for the U.S. Kimmy Getz finished 4th. Leerdam was 7th. Again, Yoshida, I don't know that anybody would have had any anticipation that she would win the 500, and all of those big names would be off of the podium. But that's how it happened, and we just not seeing a great deal of speed. Not a lot of quick opens there. See a little strategy session for Stolz. Coaching staff for the U.S. Ryan Shimabukuro working on Stolz, preparing him for whatever time he needs to beat. And he may not really be thinking time right now. That might just be race strategy, how hard to go out, what numbers you want to hit. As we get a look at Kjell now is coming on the ice for the first time in this World Cup season. And he'll be paired along with his Dutch teammates, Simon Snell, 26-year-old, and there's a look at now. Never looks like he ages a day, right? The world record holder.
Go to the start.
Set back in March of 2019 at 140.17. That was in the altitude and speed of Salt Lake City.
Ready,
So here is Naus. Had success at 1500 last year, even through Salt Lake City when he was a great story on the ISU.org website on a preview of this event. And Naus talked about the big fall he had right after he finished the 1500 meter race in Salt Lake City. He said, I crossed the line, everything went dark. A hard crash, head first into the wall, was lucky to recover in time for the World Championships a couple of weeks later. But he may begin to take it a little bit easier on him and might take an event off here or there. 35-year-old with very little left to prove over his career. With silver at the World Single Distance, the 1500 last year. Naus goes out first full lap at 25:33. Eitrem's first full lap is 25:9. Get an idea how well off Naus is at this early stage of this race. I'll check the numbers here on the second lap. Eitrem's second full lap is 26:7. And Naus looks really comfortable here. 26:8. Naus' time. He's still 1.2 seconds clear. Track record of Ichinohe not really in jeopardy, I don't think here. 1:44.72. Well, I take it back. Eitrem did beat the track record a moment ago, so 1:44.59. And here comes Naus. I think he's going to lower it here. Naus, final couple of blades to the line. No, the last lap cost him. 29:11 for Naus. Kind of lost it down the stretch, and Eitrem still on top. Naus heading into the final lap was 1.2 seconds clear, but at 29:11 versus Eitrem's 27:6. It's a second and a half, and that's the difference. So the Norwegian Eitrem still on top now with 2 pairs to go. Naus is in great shape in that final 400 meters. Here we get a look at Eitrem holding on. 1:44.59, still good. Now second, there's Nanomura right now holding on to third. Two pairs to go. I wouldn't want to be where Nanomura is. Not with the quality of racers in the last pair. And here's Joop Venemars, 22-year-old from the Netherlands.
On the outer lane is Connor
Howe of Canada. The third place podium finish last year in Quebec.
Ready.
And now so we replaying that last lap. Great shape. Really hit the wall in the final 400 meters. So Eitrem still your leader. And his best finish in his career, 4th at the 1500 meters. He right now, depending on how this 9th pair plays out, he could be guaranteed a podium finish. But Venemars goes out quickly in 23.5, Howe 23.66. Ning and Stolz, the final pair coming up. They're on deck. And those two have had some battles over the last couple of years. And chiefly won by Stolz, just about all of them. Venemars at 25.6, Howe at 25.8. Those are both faster than Eitrem's first full lap time. Well, so was Naus for the first couple of full laps. And Eitrem still hangs out on top right now. Here's the bell. Final 400 meters. Venemars at 27.4, almost identical lap time with Howe. They lost some time to Eitrem there, so the gap is shrinking. Eitrem may very well stay on top here after this 9th pair. A lot of encouraging from the coaching staff on the side of the ice. Final corner. Howe laboring, swings a little wide, but Howe is going to win it. 144.59, the time to beat. He's not going to come close. So he and Venemars really fade badly over the last 600 or so meters.
Venemars of Netherlands, 1 minute 47.32.
Sixth position.
Time for Connor Howe of Canada, 1 minute 45.
So Eitrem will be on the podium. A track record time for Sander Eitrem.
オランダ1分47秒32コナーハウカナダ1分
So
45
one
秒
pair
以上
remaining,
です
and it is a heavyweight. Jing Nongyan, 25-year-old from China, who is the top-ranked 1,500-meter skater. There's a look at Eitrem. A medal's coming to you. What flavor? We'll see. There's Kjell Naus, who may get a medal. Nomura wouldn't count on it. But it's Ning Zhangyan and Jordan Stolz, the number 1 and number 2 ranked 1,500-meter skaters of the World Cup last year. But Ning skated all of the events, didn't win any. Had a couple of seconds, 3/3. Stolz raced in 5 of the 6, had 3 wins and a couple of
And on
seconds.
the other lane is Jordan Stolz.
But the
of
world
USA.
record-setting all-around champion, single-distance champ at the 500, the 1,000, and the 1,500. And here they are matching up in the final pair for the men's 1,500-meter gold at World Cup Nagano.
Ready.
Stolz already with 1 gold on this opening day in the 500-meter, but it took a big, full final lap to win it. And Stolz knows exactly what he needs to do here. He needs to better a track record that was set a moment ago by Sander Eitrem of Norway. And he'll be pushed by Ning. This will be a competitive final pair. And Stolz opens in 23.5, Ning 23.6. That is about a second behind where Eitrem was after the opening 300 meters. So Stolz on the inner, Ning on the outer. We'll check the first full lap time and we'll compare it to the leader Eitrem. Ning 25.4, Stolz identical 25.48. They picked up about a half second on Eitrem's time, not the time who was leading at that splits interval. That's a different racer. Stolz and Ning still basically gliding stride for stride. Here's the bell lap. 26.6 for Ning, 26.9 for Stolz. So Stolz is going to need another big last lap. Ning Zhangyan right now trying to pull this one and steal it away from both Eitrem and Stolz. Here's the final corner. This is going to be a great finish. Stolz accelerates through the last corner, grabs the lead. 145.59, the time to beat. Jordan Stolz of the U.S. is golden again. A track record, 143.64. He closes in 27.64. And Jordan Stolz, 2 golds on the opening day in Nagano. Eitrem will pick up silver, and Ning Zhangyan will win bronze. And that was a big last lap by Jordan Stolz, and he resets the track record that Sander Eitrem just laid down about 10 minutes ago. Champions just know what it takes every time on the ice. No matter what the time, no matter who they're competing against, they always seem to get there. And at about the 1,100-meter mark, you wondered if Ning might be getting the better of Stolz. But Stolz directly and emphatically answered that question, no. Not here, not today. And he takes down Ning in his pair, and he takes out Eitrem to win his second gold here in Nagano. Well, the goal that has basically been stated by Stolz I want to win the World Cup classifications at the 500 meter, the 1,000 meter, and the 1,500 meter. That's a whole different philosophy and approach than where Stolz was last year, taking an event off here or there. But we will see him consistently on the ice, probably through all 6 World Cup events. And he's taking a first big step here today on day 1 in Nagano. Gold in the 500, and now gold in the 1,500. We'll see Stolz in the 1,000 meter tomorrow. And then the other individual event we'll see on Sunday will be the second run of the 500 meter. The team pursuit mass start mixed gender relay will also be on Sunday. See the distance race tomorrow, the women 3,000, the men at the 5,000 meter. Those will be the first 2 events that we see. And then we'll wrap it up with a full table of events on Sunday. So Stolz the gold, Eitrem the silver, Ning the bronze. There's Nakamura, a 5th place finish for him. Kjeld Naus was in great position going into his final lap, but hit the proverbial wall and finished 4th. And misses the podium by 1,500ths. So there's your winner. A double gold day on day 1 in Nagano for the United States and Wisconsin native Jordan Stolz. His lap times in that 1,500, 25.4, 26.9, 27.6. And just comparing that to his times of the 4 continents last week, he went out in 23.3 last week. It goes out in 23.5 today. First lap in Achinoa City was 25.6, goes 25.4 today. Middle lap was 27 flat last weekend, 26.9 today. So a 10th faster. And then he closed last week in 28.3, closes this week in 27.6. So his time last week was 1:45.45 today. Track record 1:43.65. So everything faster for Stolz today with the exception of the opening 300 meters. And embraces, congratulations for these competitors from their coaching staff. And Jordan Stolz will make his way over to the podium one more time and stand on top. So a great opening day for Team Japan on the women's side. Couple of gold medals in the 500 and 1,500. And the U.S. will claim gold in each of the 2 men's events thanks to one man, Jordan Stolz, the 20-year-old from the United States. Track record 1:43.65, Eitrem silver, Ning bronze. And the second page. And that will put a full lid on our day 1 coverage here in Nagano. There's a look at the World Cup standings after one event, the 60 points for the winner to Jordan Stolz. And again, we'll see him over the course of the weekend. A big weekend is already brewing for Jordan Stolz. So now the awards ceremony for the women's 1,500 meter. That's Miho Takagi in the middle. And we will say so long here from Nagano. Again, the schedule coming up tomorrow on day 2. The women's 3,000 meter. The men's 5,000 meter. The long distance we will see this weekend in Nagano. And then the men's and women's 1,000 meter. Then on Sunday, the final day, we'll open up with the team pursuits. And then have the second running of the 500 meter, the mass start for the women and the men, and wrap it up with the mixed gender relay. So the medal ceremony will take us off the air. We thank you for watching on Peacock. We thank you for watching on the ISU's YouTube channel, wherever you're watching across North America or across the globe. Patrick Keenan saying thank you for watching. Stay tuned. Day 2 coverage comes up tomorrow from Nagano for our entire crew. Patrick Keenan saying enjoy the rest of your weekend. You've been watching exclusive coverage of ISU World Cup Speed Skating, the World Cup opener from Nagano, Japan. So long.
First place, Miho Takagi of Japan.
never get tired.
Never get tired. Strong man. Yeah. No, I think they are a good pair. Because at front you can throw and you front. I can throw. Yeah. That's good. Yeah. I like that. Schulting.
ただいまより男子 1500m 競技の表彰式を開始いたします。 Victory ceremony for the 1500 meters men。 メダルは国際スケート連盟トロン・エスペリより、副会長トロン・エスペリより、副賞は公益財団法人日本スケート連盟専務理事風谷秀隆より授与されます。 The presenters are Mr. Tron Esperi, ISU Vice President for the medals, and Mr. Hidetaka Kazetani, JSF Secretary General for the gift. Third place, Zonia Nin of China. Second place, Sandal Eitrem of Norway. First place, Jordan Stolz of USA. 1分43秒65はトラックレコードです。1 minute 43.65 is the track record.
This official training session for all participants will start at 4:45 is until 5:15 until 17:15. 30 minutes practice session, training session is until 5:15.
公式練習開始時刻となりました。公式練習開始時刻となりました。選手の皆さんはお気をつけてご滑走ください。なお練習時間は17